Craig, time certainly flies, doesn't it? And we're into the final game before the split. As you look back over the campaign so far, it's been a good one.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it has. A lot of positives. Awful lot of positives. You know, obviously we've scored an awful lot of goals. You know, we've kept a lot of clean sheets and haven't conceded an awful lot of. And as we stand at this moment in time, you know, we're still undefeated. So, you know, yeah. Look, there's always stuff we can do better. Always, you know, we've conceded some sloppy goals lately, but I think in the bigger picture, I'm not too sure. Is it 9 or 10 goals we've conceded, and we've scored 80. So, you know, we strive for perfection, but you know, probably perfection doesn't really exist, but we still strive for it.
And we know that it will be a tough game against Bala. Although there's 17 points between us in the table, they do have the knack of raising their game when they play the New Saints. Yeah,
which most clubs do. You know, it's part and parcel of being here at this football club. There's a different type of pressure on you. There's an expectation of pressure, expectation of winning, expectation of winning games comfortably. You know, and that's obviously, fortunately, you know, I experienced it for 5-6 years the first time I was here, so I know how that feels like. A lot of our players have been here for a long time, so they know what that feels like. And that's just part and parcel of being at this football club. There's a huge expectation to win games for multiple reasons.
We have played Bala once already this season, 5-0 victory at Maes Tegid. Do you feel that can sometimes inspire the opposition, although it was in October last year, to put that wrong right? Yeah,
well, obviously Colin, he's a very experienced manager, and they've got a very experienced players who will have an awful lot of pride and have done an awful lot in the game, so they will not want to come here and get another defeat by that amount. So yeah, I'd imagine the experienced players, a lot of ex-professionals, you know, that have played an awful lot of football league games, and some have played in European Cups and internationals, you know, with Dave Edwards, etc. So yeah, it's something that I expect a tough game. Always expect a tough game from Bala, because we've got good players, honest players, and we've got a really good dressing room.
And we are 13 points ahead of second place Connors Quay Nomads, so a very healthy position. Does that surprise you, perhaps, if you'd have considered that at the start of the season?
I don't know. I didn't really consider it at all. Really, there was not thought in my mind. Really, it was just concentrating. Obviously, I come in here fresh to a new job, second time round, and needed to make sure everything I could control, I was controlling, and making sure that everything, you know, from players, from a staff, from a football club, that we could control everything here and make the standards as high as possible. And obviously I think the levels of consistency have been very good at this moment in time, but you know, we make no bones about it, we will not get complacent, and we'll not go into the second half of the last game of the first half and then at the second half of the season thinking we've already won something, or we've already done this, or we've done that. We haven't. You know, we've done reasonably well, you know, but each game as they come, as they say, very boring, you know, but it's the next game, and you know, something, a phrase that commonly is used by myself, it's the most important one because it's the next one. So we had a fantastic performance on Saturday through the next round of the Welsh Cup, but also, you know, we moved quite quickly on to play a decent Bala team.
And barring any postponed games, of course, there won't be any more midweek fixtures now for the rest of the campaign. Is that a big plus in terms of preparation?
I think from a collective point of view, as coaches, then yes, it is. Yes, I'd much prefer to work with the lads 4 or 5 contacts during the week and not just recovery and not just preparation. So yeah, from a coach's point of view, then yes, the Saturday is a good opportunity to get lots of training ground minutes and lots of repetition and stuff that you'd like to improve on, or we could do better at, or etc. But yeah, it's something that, you know, it's something a coach wants to, you know, get on the training pitch and get some extra minutes in the players.
And specifically working towards the Bala Town game, how have the preparations been going so far?
Yeah, great. Obviously we had a great result on Saturday. Fantastic result, so we're in a really good place at this moment in time. But like I said, that's that's down, you know, and everyone needs to realise this and make sure they do realise this moving forward. It's down to hard work from everybody. You know, it's not down to just turning up and thinking we can go and steamroll our teams or do what we want to do without putting the hard yards in. So as long as we keep putting the hard yards on in the work, then we'll be okay. But it needs to make sure that we do.
There have been some great individual performances recently, and of course players coming back from injury as well. We often talk about your managerial selection headache. Do you have in mind at this stage of the week the starting 11 for the game against Bala?
I think you've always got in mind, but then again, it's not always concrete. So there's still, we're talking early in the week today. We've still got 3 training sessions left before the actual game. So there's always that opportunity for someone to play their way out if the attitude's not good, or someone to play their way in if the attitude is good. That is why we've got a very strong squad. And I don't want players to be too disappointed if they're not getting minutes, because they can show us as staff what they can do in training every day. So that's just as important, if not more important, than a Saturday.
We've already mentioned what Bala Town are capable of with their players and the experience they have at the club. When you go into a game like this, how much attention do you give to the opposition, or is it trying to create a situation whereby they're more concerned about you?
Yeah, it always has to be for this football club. It always has to be that the opposition is concerned about you. But there's a healthy percentage of respect, which is with every club. We do our due diligence. It was only 2 weeks ago I was up there watching Carnarvon versus Bala versus Carnarvon. I've seen Bala 3 times live this year, and also as well we've watched a lot of footage from them. So we know what they're about, we know what they bring, they know what their strengths and weaknesses are, and then the rest of it is up to us to push our game plan onto them.
And they might be out of sight, but certainly not out of mind. What's the injury updates, particularly with Jordan Williams, who's the long-term one at the moment?
Yeah, Jordan's just it's an ongoing slow process. It's just really, there's nothing much more Jordan can do than rest, really. So it's obviously frustrating for Jordan. He seems in high spirits. But the frustrating thing is he can't really do much apart from rest and take it week on week, and I think he's due a MRI scan soon to see how that's progressing. So yeah, it's a tricky one for Jordan, a very patient one that he obviously just needs to keep his head down and get on with it, because it's psychologically tough. But he's got the support of all the staff and all the players, so we're here from him whenever he needs us.